Hey everyone, the Swing Trading Club here. This week's video is going to be a little bit different. I think I'm going to move away from doing the 30-minute long kind of market update that I've been doing previously and move more to just sort of a high-level overview of this week's picks as well as what we can expect for economic reports in the coming week. So let's hop into it. So first things first, let's start off with this week's, like I said, economic reports. The big one is going to be on Wednesday when the Fed funds target rate is going to come out. So more or less, Jerome's going to get in front of reporters and talk through their findings, and what the market is pricing in right now is about a 75 basis point hike. Now there's about 20% according to betting markets that they'll do 100. But 75 right now is the consensus, so we'll see what happens. There's also a few other reports. We'll see the inflation numbers. We'll see, consumer spending. That's going to be one that I'm going to be interested in because that's going to be an indicator of if everybody's sentiment is moving into behavior. So what I mean by that is we've had these multiple months of very low consumer sentiment, but we really haven't seen consumer spending turn over. So there's definitely going to be some kind of more closer look that needs to be done on consumer spending. We'll look at retail, but that's really the main focus of this week. It's definitely going to be a big big press conference on Wednesday, so make sure to pay attention to that. And then we'll also get new home sales. That's always a fun one to pay attention to. That usually sets the tone for the rest of the month. I know there's only about a week left, but it's certainly, we'll see kind of where those numbers shake out. So stay tuned, guys. So like I said, moving right along in this video, again, I'm going to try to keep these a little bit shorter. If you have any preference, I know we're still very early on in these type of videos, so let me know if you guys do prefer the longer length. If not, I'll probably continue with this for the time being, but we'll always kind of keep improving as we go week to week. So one thing I just wanted to hop into real quick before we go into the weekly picks is just a view of the NASDAQ. We are starting to see a little bit of a rebound here. Now, zooming out, we still have a long way to go, at least till we get to 2020 bottoms. I don't anticipate this being the end of it. If we remember, if we go back to 2001 or even 2008 for that matter, you see a lot of what they call dead cat bounces. So this specifically is 2008, right? You see a lot of these, huge run-ups, and then we'll see, another run-up, and then large capitulation event. So these things take time to flesh out. It's even more apparent if we go to the weekly view. You can kind of see just how much rebounds there are in the market. So just be very patient here, guys. Don't get stuck, trying to trade into this what you think would be tailwinds, only to be met with extreme market headwinds. So these things take time. I don't anticipate this to be a quick recovery, but there's a lot of compounding factors at play here, and so I wouldn't necessarily rule out a potential turnaround. So I know it's kind of advice that can kind of go either direction, but in my mind, I'm trying to give as many different points of view as I can on the market. Raul Paul is a good individual over at Real Vision. There's a lot of folks that have very good opinions. Personally, I stay away from the CNBCs because it's a lot more of headlines and actual market dynamics. But reading folks like Ray Dalio, these larger macro kind of traders always give us good insight. So make sure to visit those opinions, and then triangulate your own hypothesis and see what you think is going to happen. The last thing before I move on to these picks here, we're kind of in this strange environment where we've been seeing rate hikes month over month. As for the last 3 or 4, But what the market is essentially saying is each time the rates get hiked again, it's actually taking that in stride, and they're not shooting up by 5-10% by any means, but you'd expect a 100-point basis hike or 75-point hike to significantly bring down the NASDAQ. Now that hasn't been happening. I think just because the markets are so forward looking that they're expecting you know that a hike of say 100 basis points is really going to kind of pull the band-aid off in a sense, and more or less that, hey, we might kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel here, and we can start dropping rates back down, continue quantitative easing, and go back to normal operation. So keep that in mind. I do anticipate if it's a 75 point hike, that will probably see a little bit of appreciation. At least on the smart money side, I think people will start kind of, again, having those forward-looking outlooks and trade the market up. But we'll see. So stay tuned on that for Wednesday. And now time for this week's free pick. We have two of them. As always, these are only two of about 10 to 15 that I usually put out. If you want access to all picks, you'll have to become a premium member. We also, in the Discord chat, will discuss each of these picks in more detail, talk through specific entry points, because these do change week to week, right, and even day to day for that matter. So right now it's set at 64.75. Maybe Tuesday morning it goes up to 65.75, right? So these things change; they're not set in stone. But this is CLR, and more or less this is just going to be a trade off the 100-day moving average. If we zoom in a little bit to the 4-hour, we do see a little bit of a what they call a death cross here. So the 50-day moving average is crossing over that 100-day. That usually indicates a bullish indicator. So just pay attention to that. But again, we go over to 2-hour, over to 1-hour. You have all these moving averages everywhere. I tend to like to trade off the 5 and 9-day moving averages. I think it is a pretty good momentum indicator. So we're seeing a lot of large swings, but more or less we're trying to play this right off the 100-day and hoping for a quick little swing trade here, nothing too crazy. Again, when we do these swing trades, I know I talk about this a lot in the club, but never really try to go back to all-time highs. I always prefer to go back to like another level of support just under it is usually where the sweet spot is for these trades. So get in and get out of this one, guys. The next trade to look at is Johnson & Johnson. Pretty volatile. The idea here is that similar to CLR, we're going to be trading off these longer term moving averages. Now with Johnson & Johnson, you've seen a historical trend to kind of break these, so definitely be watchful there, and if it does break trend, obviously close your trade. But if you look over to the right side of my screen with the 5-minute chart, actually this is 30, looking at the 5-minute chart here, 30-minute chart here, I do like these super tight charts just to give us a good sense of where last week traded off. According to this, not really according to this, but according to my analysis of this 30-minute, I would anticipate probably a trade depreciation as we open up the week, so some kind of drawdown, and then a potential rebound. So watch out for this. This isn't going to be a trade I'm going to open up next Monday. Tomorrow, I would probably wait maybe Wednesday, Tuesday if you're trying to kind of play it around the potential inflation play that the Fed is going to be talking us through. But regardless, I think this still has a little bit of volatility that we can take advantage of. We're kind of to the bottom band, and I'm expecting a rebound here. Do pay attention. Like we said, kind of this death cross is starting to occur. It's not always a sure indicator, but it's definitely something to keep track of. And similar to CLR, we're not going to wait to close this about 185, 182. We're going to close it about 177. So again, join the club if you want that analysis to be more day-to-day versus just a weekly kind of outlook. this is something that we talk through week to week, and maybe we have a significant event and we end up just not even entering this trade at all. But all those items are discussed in the club. So if you guys want that analysis, definitely join. And I think that is going to be it for now. Let's flip back over to the Swing Trading Club. This is where we post all our articles. And if anybody does want to join the club, certainly go check out our pricing page. We do have many discounts that we provide. So if you guys are worried about the price, just reach out. If not, join the free newsletter, and hope to see you on the inside. Thanks.